Conor Benn versus Regis Prograis is not going to be a close fight. This is not going to be competitive. And in my opinion, it's going to be pretty simple for Conor Benn. If this was prime Regis Prograis, then I'd pick him to win the fight. But this is far from Regis Prograis. This is a far cry from prime Regis Prograis. So Conor Benn is going to win this fight. Look, if this was prime Regis Prograis, then let's be honest here. Skill for skill, this would be a huge jump from Chris Eubank Jr. A huge jump. But this is not his prime at all. This is a downgrade from Eubank Jr. From the, look, it probably might be a bit of a harder. I say harder fight. I don't think it's gonna be close. I don't know if Prograis can. He'll probably be more awkward for Conor Benn than what Eubank was in his second fight, in my opinion. But yeah, it's not going to be close. Yeah, if we look at prime Regis Prograis, slick southpaw, good counter puncher, works his angles well. He's dangerous. He reacts to shots well, comes back with some really, came back with some really quick ones, and a very confident guy who imposed himself very well. He could fight at a very high pace and had proper elite timing. But now he, let's be honest, is just hesitant. Very hesitant. He's a lot slower. He doesn't, again, now he don't impose himself, and he's just predictable now. He was too predictable for Devin Haney. For Jojo Diaz, he was predictable in that fight, and very arguably, I mean, could he have lost it? It was too bloody close. He arguably lost. He's much lower output now, and Jojo Diaz rocked him bad in that first round. If you remember that and you're looking back at that fight, Jesus Christ, Conor Benn will be loving it, having a look back at that fight. Absolutely loving it. For Conor Benn, look, he is getting better. Look, we don't like Conor Benn, but, he's getting better. He's improving. you know, he looked good against the half-dead Eubank Jr. Did exactly what had to be done, was aggressive, took centre ring well, pushed him back, and was able to bully him in there pretty much. I think he's going to be the much stronger guy than Regis Prograis now. I think he's going to be able to push Prograis back onto that back foot. I feel like he drops him in this fight. Does he get him out of there? I don't know. I think Benn's power is actually questionable. I'm not going to lie. It actually is questionable. What, like, you look at guys who he's knocked out. You do look at guys who he's knocked out. And it's like, okay, Chris Algieri, you knocked out. Vargas, he stopped. You know, But these guys are much older. These guys are much older. They are not in their prime. But then, we think about it. Prograis not in his prime. So, it could be a stoppage for Ben. Either way, this fight's not going to be close. I feel like he definitely dropped Prograis. Now, he probably does finish him. He probably does finish him. If you think, like that Jojo Diaz fight, Prograis' punch resistance was not there, and he was stunned many times in that fight. Conor Bennett's harder than Jojo Diaz. Let's put it that way. He's more aggressive than Jojo Diaz. I think Regis Prograis is going to have a very hard time dealing with the aggressiveness of Conor Benn in this fight, and that is something that Conor Benn is very dangerous with, his aggressiveness, and he is a fast starter. He is very explosive, Conor Benn is, and Prograis needs to use the southpaw advantages in this fight. That is the way that he can do something. But I just don't think it's gonna. I just don't see him working Conor Benn too much. I just don't see him being loads of a problem for him. He's nowhere near as awkward as he was back in the day. It feels like now, nowhere near. I don't think we've seen Regis Prograis at his best since the bloody Josh Taylor fight. And that was in playing like 2019 now. It was ages ago. We have not seen Prograis at his best in ages. He's a very different guy now. A very different guy. And I feel like Conor Benn's constant pressure is going to be too much for Regis Prograis to be able to deal with in this fight. I feel like it's going to be way too much. And he's not going to know coming at him. I feel like he's going to struggle with volume. He struggled against Haney with volume early on when Jojo Diaz was coming at him. He struggled with that volume, and I just feel like right now Prograis seems to struggle to adapt. I think against Jojo Diaz, yeah, he was coming back. He came back into the fight, but it was just plan A, plan A, plan A, plan A. That's it. He didn't work ways around certain things. Jojo Diaz kind of slowed a bit, and overall Prograis is the more skilled guy than him anyway. Prograis was always should have won that fight, and he did. But yeah, look, I think I think it's interesting because I don't think Benn has massive, massive, massive power, but he has that explosiveness and he has that aggressiveness. I feel like that's what Conor Benn has, and that's something which is going to be the thing which can really help him push for a stoppage. And I think with Regis Prograis, he's getting hit a lot more recently. He's getting hit a lot more recently. His upper body movement's not the same, and I feel like that is a prime thing that made Regis Prograis very awkward. It was his head movement. It was his very awkward upper body movement, which made him very difficult to time. Jojo Diaz timed him very nicely, just so many times in that fight, so many times. Conor Benn's going to get to him, and I feel like the thing with Conor Benn is, I think in the rematch with Eubank Jr., his timing was very good. I think in the first fight it wasn't great, but it was just aggressiveness, which is unpredictable. He's wild, he's unpredictable a lot of the time, Conor Benn. And he can fire off emotions, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case in this fight. I mean, if Benn does go wild, then Prograis has an opportunity. But, I mean, in his prime, Prograis would, in my opinion, wipe the floor with Conor Benn. He honestly would wipe the floor with Conor Benn in his prime. But he's far from it, as I was saying. This fight, in my opinion, is not going to be close. I think Conor Benn takes him out. I think Conor Benn takes him out in 9 rounds. That's my prediction. Let's wait and see.